So let's jump into it, and we're gonna start with importing our footage, and we'll start match moving later on. So how we gonna do that? Let's go to tracker, motion tracker. Here we can just choose our folder. I prepare multiple different options, but let's just go with the streets from Prague, which is recorded on the iPhone, so you can see it's quite easy. You can do it whenever you are, or you can take this footage, which I'll be providing with to you. Then you have an option to resampling. Like in default, the 33%. I don't know if it's just my fear, but I'm usually like increase it a little bit just to know that I'm working with more data, but depends on the type of footage. You don't need to do that step. Then we have this auto feature trackers, which we basically generating the points, and it's good to generate points where we're spending most of the time or somewhere between. Like this is, for example, between. We see decent amount of the ground, but in the same time we see entire street back and we see the bit street forward. So let's maybe go to this point, and then I will just reduce the spacing so it will allow me to have more points, and I'll just put like 10,000 points. I'll just hit create auto tracks. You can see like we got populated, and now in this point we have all those points. So from here, what we're gonna do, we just hit auto track. Simple as that. Now the Cinema 4D will start calculating. Depends how many points you put and how long is your sequence. That's how long it will take the time. But this is the process when you don't try to rush the things, because more precise you are, the better benefits you have later on, and more fitting and matching objects you have. So this is actually really important. So don't underestimate it, because you want to be as precise as possible. We are almost done with our processing. So let's wait a second. All right, so now we see all those points which Cinema 4D gave it to us. And you can see there's actually a decent amount of points stay there, because there's tends to a lot of points usually like disappear, but we still have like tons of them. Then on the ground, like what are the mainly two important parts though? Like it's great it's catch so many points at the background, but for us it's important how many points we will get around this object, because this is gonna be animating doors, so this has to be really precise. And then the ground, which is fairly flat, so we are not super particular about it, but it should be still pretty precise. So what we can do, we can either generate more points over here, or we can make some manual points, which I usually tend to do anyway. So let's maybe do the combination, or yeah, let's maybe like generate a few more points over here. So just maybe we can do less of them. Let's put 5,000. Create auto tracks and track those ones as well. All right, so now we get tons of the points, which are plenty, I think, to have really precise animation. And then just for our sanity, we can add few manual tracks. So we can go, because we want to mainly the window over here, so we can just put few tracking points. Like let's say here in this, we were looking for the contrast points or corners ideally. And you find a point like this, turn on the virtual keyframes, because it will help you greatly when you lose the tracking point, it will catch up again. So just use this one and then do manual track. Now you can see the point is there, but it's actually floating in a bit, so we want to do it better. So let's just go this way. It's still holding, and now it jump. So I'll go before it jumps, right click and insert key at tracking position. By doing this, it actually helps to Cinema 4D to tell where it's supposed to exactly be. I'll do maybe one more time. And now the tracking point is holding there for the entire length. All right, so we can do another one here, but it seems Cinema 4D already gave us some tracks there, so we are probably fine. I don't need to add more. Then we have some on those, like maybe you can add here. It's gonna be kind of visible position. The manual tracks help you to really see exactly where are your points if you are missing some, because we don't have that many on those doors. This one holding pretty well as well. Then it's basically good to have in the corners for sure, because then you know where to put your objects. So we definitely want to have at least 4 points here, maybe on the middle doors as well, because it doesn't have to be exactly a flat, precise wall, you know. We don't know how they were building this building, so don't trust them. And then here I'm gonna put here in the middle door virtual keyframe manual tracking. Trust me, this used to be way more complicated process back in the days. Like with the virtual keyframes, this is a piece of cake. Like, I mean, it's so much easier and faster. Okay, I'll maybe put one more here. Virtual keyframe, manual tracking. And let me see if this one will holding. Perfect. So I think we have enough on the doors. Maybe we can do last one here, just, you know, double measurements. And that's it. Like, just see if it holds, holding. And now we make sure we have some on the ground. I mean, we have tons of them on the ground, but I usually tend to do like 5 to 10 manual tracking, no matter what I'm tracking. Usually they are quite helpful. So maybe one here. This will actually help us to align the axis, you know, because this is the axis, there's gonna be y-axis, and there's gonna be x-axis. So you may even put few points there. I mean, again, I don't know how precise is the street, but for I, this is the axis we would kind of be aligning with. So it will help us on the process later on. And then maybe, as I said, just last 2 manual keyframes, which I will put around the wall. So one over here and one somewhere over here. Okay, I think we are good enough. I think we are prepared, almost over prepared. So now we are good to go to run 3D Solver and calculate the 3D positions of those points. All right, and now we can see our tracking data, and as you can see beautifully, like look at all those red points in the background. That does mean that we don't have enough data, and Cinema 4D is not exactly sure if they know position, but it's totally fine because we're really interested only in this area, and it's beautifully green. Look how many points we have. I maybe put too many points, but this is the luxury tracking data. So, and we have all the corners, so we are set. Like this is what you want to see. Then if you want to be kind of even more prepared for aligning 3D models, it's not necessary, but you can also hit reconstruction and generate the mesh out of it. It might help you to snapping and building the geometry and aligning. So we can just show you to see how it works, but not necessary. So now we can see that this is basically what we get when we did this mesh scene. Like we can go around and see our scene like in the data. And this is pretty interesting. Like we're missing some points over here, but that's fine because as you can see, they make the pavement pretty flat. That's what we want to see. The wall the same way, it seems really flat. We even get exactly the position of our points. So this is really great for start. And now it's our focus to align it, because if you bring the object, if it's gonna be out of alignment, so we just need to set the center point and all the axes. So let's jump and do that. All right, so now we have our mesh data and our tracking points, and let's bring some coordinates. So because we don't know where is which axis, so for that you will go to motion tracker data, tracker text, and then you will just go here, and then you might go, let's say let's start a planar constraint. Planar will give you basically the plane, so you can select 3 points on each plane and it will give you the axis, roughly calculation of it. So let's just load our tag. If you do that, you just get this kind of a triangle over here. So you can just push it, select 3 points. Because I did quite heavy geometry and we have a lot of points, it is a little bit slower process. So I'll just try to do as quickly as possible. Select some green points, definitely as green as possible, because it will be giving you more precise results. And then we need the last one, and maybe over here. Okay, so this is gonna be, and it's like Sema4D automatically generate, this is like green, so it means this is y-axis. So if you connect all those points and you will make perpendicular line between them, that's your axis. So this is actually upwards, so it is proper one, it's a green one. So the next what we need, we might use this wall. So this wall have a lot of details, and we might use it as a perpendicular to the ground. So let's do it one more time. Just go to tracking data, and let's do one more planar tracking. Like I used to do mainly with axis, like with vector. I always like select the y1, z1, x1, but I see a lot of people using the planar tracker more, and I think might give you a little bit better results. So let me just put the 3 points over here, because you're basically defining it by 3 points, not only with 2. So. And then we're gonna bring it here, and that's the last one. Okay. So this one is again green, but we don't want green anymore, because this one is gonna be our axis, which is go backwards to the distance. So this is a z1. So we will just switch it here, and we don't have y-axis anymore. This is a z-axis. So just switch it, and Sema4D will recalculate everything on the background. And then let's do one more, because we didn't define the x-axis. So we have like z-axis, we have y-axis. Let's do one more, and this last one we can do actually with only like the vector one, as I was telling you before. That's how I used to use mainly where I was defining axis. And the question is if you should like put mainly the tracking data around the window, because the window is supposed to be the most precise. But I think we have a lot of geometry to be able build upon it. So let me just select the points. And I'm apologizing, it's a little bit slower. I maybe should not run such a heavy dense mesh. I can turn it off for a moment. And the last one is x-axis. Because it's turn on motion tracker, it will be keep popping back. And then what we will add is the 0 point or origin point. So you will go to tracking point, and you put position constraint. By position constraint, you're setting up default. If you basically have any object and you zeroed out the coordinates, you will go to like the reset button. This is the point where it will snap. So we want to probably have it somewhere on the ground in front of the camera. That's where it's gonna be our plane. That's where it's gonna be our ship falling down. So yes, let's just keep it on this axis. And now when I select all of them, I should be able to go through different points and see, like, this is like our right view. So we can see that it's aligned pretty well. The ground seems aligned really well. And if you're gonna go and turn off the default camera, yeah, this is what we got right now. Like we have our geometry, everything is aligned, and now if I will bring the object, it will be like zeroed out on the ground in front of us. So that's good to start. Now what we need to do, what is gonna be probably the most important and precise thing in the scene, is to work with this window, because we just want to rebuild it. So now we can say like our tracking data are done. So let's start preparing our scene. What we want to create is representation of this box. So we can like bring it over here. Push it backwards. And You know, let's just make it editable. Select our cube and just stretch it. Maybe you can even change different axes. This might help a little bit. Make it in the size of the window. As you can see, our axes are aligned pretty well. I mean, in worst case, you can still rotate it a little bit or rotate the entire scene, but I think we are doing pretty good over here. This might be our box, which is gonna be inverse, so I'll just make it deeper. You can see the surface is not exactly aligned. I think on the, if I will go from the top view, this axis is slightly going backwards, so we might need to adjust it a little bit or rotate. I don't know, let's see if you can rotate the entire scene. I don't think so. So what we could either do, we can try to define better our z-axis. Let me see, or x-axis actually. This is gonna be our x definition. So let me just try one more time before we will start doing counter adjustments. We can just go and adjust this one, because it is quite important for us to be straight. And we don't have any points for planar tracking data. So the only thing what we can do is to set up those tracking data. And what we can do, just to be a little bit more precise, we can use this pavement on the ground, and or we can actually put under the window, put the one more vector constraint. So the Cinema 4D will calculate the average of those lines, so we will get more precise results. Like you can have multiple of them, you can have 5 of them, and it will just calculate it, the small differences between them. So this is one of the angles we are putting there from our window. Let's just put the other one in the corner. And together with the ground, this should give us like more precise results. So let's see. I will go switch it to X. Come on, you can do it. And let's see if we can get a little bit better results. So I'll go again to top view. And have a look on our cube. I don't want to be bragging, but I think it's pretty precise. So we got our window, which is this is around the, when we start disappearing, this is roughly where it's going to be a surface, and the rest of it go backwards. So that is where we can have our object. With our cube, let's bring it onto the geo, or actually this could be environment. You can bring it to environment. And then we want to make the doors for our hall. So make me editable. We already have it. Then I might delete this main wall, or what we can do actually, we can see the splitting line. So let's hit UP. Now we split it. I will delete it from the original. So now we have just only the face. I will do KL, like a loop selection. And do you see where we have a line? Like this is roughly where our doors. So exactly there, I will just make my cut. So now we have 2 surfaces. And again, I can do UP just to kind of make sure you see what I'm doing. So now we have 2 doors, and those ones we can just bring the extruder. So I'll just bring extrude and extrude them for like go to default camera so we can more precisely see it. Maybe we can even hide the other thing for now. Reconstruction. Oh, I keep seeing it. I don't know if you can just hide it like this. And sorry. And now we will just extrude our plane. All right, so we have our objects here which we just created, and we just hit the D button and we just extrude them a little bit, like maybe the thickness we can put 3 centimeters. And by doing so, we are getting our doors from this like closet or whatever we call it. Then what we have to do, we want to be sure our anchor point for this object. So let's just move here into enable axis. Okay, so now we go to our object and we just reset the axis center, and then we can just bring to enable axis and move it here towards the side. So we just want to be on the edge. And we will do the same thing on the other side. I'll just reset the axis center and we will bring it to the side. So if we did everything right, and when we start rotating the object, we have our doors to open to our box here. So you can even come over here and it should be pretty much aligned with the door behind it. And we have our extended 3D into the real world. Well, now when we have those doors, you can see that when I'm like going through, they are not really aligning over here. So let's just have a look what's going on here. So we can go to our 3D mode. Let's have a look on the object mesh. If you look closely, we can find out that there is slightly offset from our object. So let's just go back to front top view, and maybe we can notice it's still a little bit under the angle here over it, starting from here and goes there. So we bring all my objects, let's put them under the group. So this group is gonna be like we'll use for controlling the entire size of it, and maybe just slightly rotate it. So it's gonna be a little bit tilted. Means we didn't, it's not super precise our thing, which is fine. We just will be working under this group, which is like under the angle like 1 degree or around 2 degrees. And now it's just our task to kind of marriage those closer, like be more in it, and yeah, kind of more align it with this mesh. Like this is the foundation of the mesh moving and building CG into the real world. So this is where we'll find out if everything works. This is the most important part. So we are looking here on the left. We are a little bit further, just going around here. Okay, so we might need to even have a little bit extend our pieces, but otherwise they're aligning really well. But we just want to be ideally covering the geometry all the time. So let's come back to this angle. Let me just go to default camera. We bring the mesh object, and what I can do here, I can just bring my geometry, extend it a little bit here towards the end, come over here. This one looks pretty good, but we can have a little bit more where it ends as well. And then just have a look one more time. I mean, it looks like there is this diagonal going a little bit, it's maybe a little bit lean, the wall, but let me see on this side. This side looks pretty straight to me, so I think we should be there. Let me check over time. Let me hide the mesh. Okay, and we can see exactly how much we need. So let's maybe just move it over here. And then one more thing, You can see from this angle, could go a little bit lower, here, tiny bit higher. And the thing is, if you align it in one angle and doesn't fit it another angle, it just means it's the wrong z-space. It's not really in the proper position. I think we are doing in general good, but I think that seeing there's a bigger gap than on the top, and here reverse, let's maybe play with the changing the angle here slightly. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's this one. No, I think this is the closest we are getting so far. I mean, we won't see the details too much, but I still want to be sure that we are as good as possible. Still be bugging me is this corner down there. I mean, we can even like fixate it and make it anamorphic, or just like change direction, just do it like here, but I would like to keep it straight, because Joe's doors, they are rectangular, and I would like to believe they are fairly straight. So I don't want to change the position of it too much. Let me check one more time in the mesh what's going on here. Maybe bring it a little bit up. Okay, I think this works pretty good. Maybe last extending on this side. That's it. So now what we're gonna do, we will align it. We will just go one more time to our object mode. Just we have our axis all the way on the edge. Come over here, do the same here. And now we should have our doors. The next thing what we're gonna need to do is to have a wall around our doors. So we will use it as a mask. So what we can do, we can just make a plane, align the plane with our object, rotate it, and then maybe just adjust our size, go all the way to ground. Okay, so now it's touching the ground, and we can use our cube, which we had before. Just bring it here. And what I did with our cube, it's that I made the hole before, so let's maybe bring it back and can fill the hole. So I will just type the hole, close polygon hole. So I just need to select the points, and then can just have close polygon hole. Just close it, and then we can use the Boolean operation. So Boolean over here, and we will bring our plane and this, and just switch it. So what we are doing right now, we are just creating the hole. And we don't want to see this cube. And our plane go all the way in the front. So roughly this is the thickness of our doors. So you can see this plane is pretty much well aligning with all those points. Like if you will be touching the dots there, that's where it's like exactly sitting exactly on them. So this is gonna be our wall, which we'll be using to mask out anything which is not directly in the window. We can maybe put a different color for time being, or just, I don't know, different shading, so we can see it like a little bit better. Just hit like B, D to kind of have outlines and see our shapes. Well, this is the most important part. Right now it's up to whatever you want to create there, right? So you can just open the doors and we can put any kind of object there. Then we will put some ground floor, and then we can like basically have extended geometry. We can put anything there. So I think this is kind of quick, fast way how to build and track our world. And now we're gonna work on animation and bring things to life. But we have a foundation, and maybe the last thing what we do before I will jump off from this scene or to the next chapter, I'll just bring a plane as well. As you can see, it's already on 0 on the ground. Maybe we can even extend it if you need to. And this is gonna be our ground for anything we are using later on. So that's it for this part, and let's move on in animation. All right, so let's welcome in the next part of the tutorial. Now we will be creating this kind of like flying ship cannon. I might change the cannon, but this is the original version I made. And then we will be tracking the objects inside of it. Like we have some cloth simulation, some Voronoi object, some reacting, opening the doors. So there's a bunch of things to animate. It's a mix of dynamics and normal animation. And we have also using the Mixamo over here. So let's jump into that. This is where we ended. So what do I need to do here is go back with the doors and put them, close them. And before I do that, let's have a look on our doors, because it seems they are open in terms of our, let's switch the view. I didn't close the cap when I was extruding them, which is no big deal. You can just go right click and close polygonal hole, and you can just close it that way. So let's do it on the same other one as well. If I only click it right, okay. And then those are basically our doors. We can see the angle we are using, so we just want to go back to 0, just close them, and this is door right and door left. Cool. So then what we gonna shoot and with what we gonna shoot. So I downloaded a few models. The one of them is the robotic eye. Then we have this Canon. So let me just use the Canon. And the Canon on its own, originally, if you download it from a website, the problem with it, it comes with, which one is this one? It comes with animation, which is cool, but if you will just use the automatic converter and you download it here and you just USDS, at least for me, it like broke apart. So I downloaded the blend file just to have it, and then I use this website, or you can do Google any different website, image to STL, and you can here convert the blend file into FBX. So by doing so, you are able to import the model. It actually kept one of those rotations, so I don't need any rotations. So I will just go and I will just kill all the rotations. Okay, and I will just select everything. Yeah, there's no keyframes. So we got this geometry. Can maybe I can do it later on. Then let's just make sure the rotation are fine. So I will have a look on this rotating base. Let's have a look how this build. Upper arms. Yeah, there's some animation over here. And yes, the alt. Okay, I will unfreeze everything because there was like a freeze transformations. And then with upper arms, I'll zero it out. 0, 0. Okay. No. Okay, let me have a look which one we want to change. Okay, we want to change the turret base. This is fine. It's fine. Okay, for some reason. Oh, here we are. Okay. So okay, so I just changed the rotation to main turret to 0. So now we get our model prepared. And then we don't need this like big part in the bottom. We'll definitely not gonna see that. Is it part of the rotating base? Interesting. So let me just select everything. Just hide this. Select everything else. Okay, so we want to delete this base basically. We don't need the base. So we can just delete it. We'll create the empty mesh. And it's fine. We don't need anything more. So I will take our rotating base and we can play with the textures and shaders and do it here, but I will probably just do it at the end when we're going to be working on our lighting. So I will go to our scene, bring it here, our geometry. This is all materials we are using for this. We can probably already put it in the group in a layer. So this is going to be our gun. And the same all those textures. We can basically assign them gum shader. And this we will we'll bring it to our geo. And we can actually create new group, which is going to be called gun. The question is if you're going to add the doors there as well or everything else, but so far I'll just keep it this way. Now we'll scale it down. And now we need to basically fit it into our box. So just bring it up, scale it down. Change from mouse to tablet. Oh, interesting. And yeah, I think this is a decent size. Let me just hide the doors. We don't see them. Okay, there's something going with my mouth. Right. So there's some pieces which are unfortunately going kind of too far. I can have a look if we can like adjust this, or we can just delete them eventually. Let me see. I'll delete those parts. Yeah, this geometry is not supposed to move, unfortunately. So what's gonna be the best thing? You can just do kind of like quick fix cheat. Just make it way shorter. Again, those are the things you don't need to do. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more clean and organized, but you can find some, like, depends what is your scene also, of course. Okay, so I'm just wrong angle. Okay, yeah, this object is different angle, but I will just put it there manually. Okay, yeah, that was a little bit painful, but we got there. Now we bring our rotating gun and we push it back. Okay, it doesn't exceed. Kind of like the bottom part of it, all those different parts. Let's maybe just keep it this way. This is gonna be our deployed gun. So what we have to here to use, we have this main turret. The main turret moving with this part, and then we have also this part, it's turret base, which can move a little bit in front when we're gonna be like, let's say this is a rail and we're just gonna be kind of like unfolding it. Then in that case, what we would have a problem here is this, like, this is a main stick over here. So let me just go here and push some particles back, push those points back, and then we can have a look one more time if we will use our turret base. Yeah, we can just slide a little bit there. I think it looks quite cool. Maybe this thing. Come on. We don't want this one there. So just make sure I'm selecting all of them, not visible only. And this basically, can we select this? UW. Yes, that's what we needed. So now we separated when we hit UP, we just separated from the original turret. You can see make the copy with everything, which is, we don't want that. So we just want to delete everything in it. We were just trying to separate this. And this will be just like called, I don't know, cylinder. It's not really important. So now we have this part, our turret base. And that allows us to do some additional animation on our object. So I kind of like to be able to slide our turret inside. And then we have the main turret, which we rotating this way. And then we have our top turret, which can kind of rotate also this way. If you can see, if we will be rotating all the way to the top, we might have a problem because we'll be hitting the ceiling, but we won't be able to rotate the turret through the side neither. It's just too big turret. So we will have to use some combination. Just put it back. Now when we know this, probably can even put it a little bit more low. Be like really low. And yeah, I think this is our gun sort of ready. What I want to also add, I want to add the heads to this. So even though I like the system over here, I kind of want to be able, let me just go here to solo mode. I don't have to always put it back. So I kind of like the small radar. It's just like a little bit annoying because I want to put the head there. So what we can try to do, we can just move this thing on the side. We can be on the shoulder. Just kind of creating the robot out of this, which is fine. On the other side. The next thing, okay, let's keep moving. Then we have our robot eye. So let me just open it again one more time. C4D. So I don't know if this not the Barrel Steam Pack. We have it in models, robotic eye. We just unzipped this file. Let me see what else we got there. Yeah, it's the blend file. Okay, so let's take a USDC file.